Hello and welcome to our presentation on our TicTacToe game we have coded in Java. My name is Jake Patterson and I am a computer science major. So first, I would like to talk a little bit about our game. So our game is basically a two-person tic-tac-toe game where the players can select their board size and their winning condition, which is basically how many matches they need to get to win the game, whether it's horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. How a player plays will be based on a turn system. So player X will play first and they will pick their X position and their Y position, and it will print on the board, and then player O will go afterwards until either the board is filled and the players tie, or if one of the players makes a match, then the game will end. All right, so now I'd like to pass on to William to talk about the design process.
Hello, I'm William Fitzgerald, and I'll be talking about the design process. The first issue that we ran into with the design of the game was whether to take in the user input as one or two integers. One integer would map each square of the tic-tac-toe board to a number, where two integers would have it like a Cartesian coordinate plane. We decided to go with the latter because it was more simple and cut out user error because each square is more easily identifiable. You can go on to the next slide, where we designed the board. And the board is a two-dimensional array that takes in the dimensions of the board to create basically a square of whatever number was input by the user for what they wanted the size to be. You go on to the next slide. Next are our win conditions. This was a very tough part of the project, as you may be able to imagine, because there are very many ways that you can win in a tic-tac-toe game, especially when there are a variable number of squares and variable number of win conditions. So what we did is we checked after every turn is played, we check every vertical, horizontal, and diagonal from top right and top left win. And these are and if someone has won, then it'll return true. Otherwise, it'll return false. And that is what tells us whether or not someone has won. You can go on to the next slide. This is just our win and tie messages. We decided to have some personalized messages just to make the game a little more fun. You can go on to the next slide.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Blaine, and I'm going to be going over our testing process. So with our system tests, we were making sure that the terminal was outputting the right prompts, it was handling the user input, and then returning a output that was correct. So if you go to the next slide, we've got some examples of how all the way on the left, we've got the user inputting their board size and winning condition. It's prompting for their X and Y locations. Then it's displaying where they play at and the board. It goes through player O and X until someone wins. In the middle, we've got an example of how we found an error by using our system test plan. So we're going through using conditions that were too big and wouldn't be valid. So we wanted it to reprompt, but as you can see at the end, we put in a winning condition that was too big, but it went and got sent to the board method, and the board method was throwing an exception. So we were able to fix that thanks to our system test plans. Over on the right, we've got an example of how the player's trying to play in a place that's already been filled, and it's letting the player know, hey, this spot's already filled. So if you go to the next slide, we've got our unit tests. So our unit tests are making sure that our code was doing what we wanted it to do. And we had tests that check the constructors, making sure that the board's set up correctly, testing our illegal argument exceptions, testing our getters and setters, and our logic behind the wins and losses. If you go to the next slide, we've got all of our tests. As you can see, we're passing everything. Our code was working great at the time of this presentation. We've got over on the left the list of all the different types of tests we did. We got our constructors, testing our getters and our setters, and testing our win conditions. So now we're going to do a quick demo of our program.
So welcome to our demo of our game. We will play with board size 3, please. And we'll do winning condition 3 as well, please.
All right, so I'm going to be player X. I'm going to go at X1 and Y1.
I'll play at 1, 2.
Go at 3, 3.
Let me play at 1, 2 again. Oh, can't do that. I'll play at 3, 1.
All right. Let me play at 2, 2. Hey,
Oh, player X
good game, good
wins.
game.
Good game.